What's up guys, your boy's back and better than ever. And today I want to talk about something that isn't really touched on much. Everyone knows the role of an IGL and a support and more or less the duties that come with the role. But there's a role out there that not many talk about, with even less knowing how to play it. And it's arguably one of the most important roles to have in Apex. It's the Entry Fragger. And today we're taking a dive into what it means and how to play the role. So without further ado, my name is Alpha Drew, let's get into it. Everyone loves those crazy Apex moments where two teams have an intense fight, and for the majority of the fan base, they only remember the end result and they don't realize what just happened to get that end result. If we look at a team like TSM, Furia, or NRG, in order for them to full send a team and leave their position, something big has to happen. Significant damage is dealt before they fully commit to a fight. This is what makes the play possible, and usually done by the Entry Fragger. To help you understand it a bit more, it wouldn't be wrong to refer to this person as the playmaker. If you Google the term, you can find definitions for many games going all the way back to CSGO. But regardless of what game you're playing, the responsibility pretty much stays the same. Get good damage in and stay alive so your team can go in and clean up the fight. Now with this information, I don't want you to think just because damage was dealt, you should all in a team, because there's definitely a lot more ways on how to not play the Entry Fragger. Time and time again, I see this happen, and yes, I'm talking about most Wraith mains blaming their teammates for their misstep, where they get good damage in and one, automatically assume their team is close to them, and two, all in the team only to realize it was a 1v3 the whole time. They had the right idea but just failed to capitalize on it correctly. Now I want to go over the right way to do it. Suppose you have an angle on the team you want to fight and you get some good damage in. While you're getting the damage in, your job as the Entry Fragger is to do two things. Communicate the damage as it's happening and communicate to your team you're moving in on the damage. Now, assuming your team is close by and is in a position to move in with you, you have to understand two things. You're the first point of contact and you're about to be faced with two outcomes. With one of them down or seriously low on health, their team is going to rotate over to cover them. And you're either going to have a 1v1 or a 1v2. And by understanding the next part, you're going to win a lot more team fights. Your job is no longer to get as much damage in. Instead, your job is to stall and poke as long as possible, and most importantly, stay alive and stay healthy long enough for your team to get to you. By doing this, you have effectively taken one of them out of the fight, ideally done a little bit of damage to one or both of their teammates, and given your team a significant health advantage. By the time the player you initially damaged is healthy again, you have already damaged the other teammates. And depending on how healthy you stayed while stalling for your team for the most part should be able to have a 3v2 for the whole fight. After covering this, I want to be realistic with each and every one of you. This role is not for everyone. Like every role, certain playstyles complement roles better than others, but it is important to practice different roles regardless of what you typically play, especially if you have any aspirations of reaching Masters, Pred, or even playing comp. Having a better understanding of each role allows you to have a better understanding of what is, what will, and what could happen in your games. So after what we just talked about, I better not see any one of you Wraith mains crying. Now that you have this role down, you should look at 4 bad habits keeping you from getting better. With that said, be safe, stay healthy, later guys.